Floods, tornadoes, snow in May. Extreme weather driven by climate change across U.S. is the worst it's been since 1927, a more than touched down during the Memorial Day weekend. In Denver, climate scientists say this is only the beginning of what will be decades of increasingly dangerous and damaging extreme weather. And there's no question a thought much of it's being driven by global warming. The scientific data is too clear and too overwhelming to come to any other conclusion, said Richard Rood, a meteorologist and professor of climate research at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. The coherent and convergent data signals climate scientists across the globe are seeing make it extraordinarily unlikely that this is just a set of typical weather events that just happen to occur at the same time, Rood said. Global warming has already increased the odds of record hot and wet events happening in 75% of North America, said Noah Diffenbaugh, a professor of climate science at Stanford University in Palo Alto, California. For dry events such as droughts, it's 50% of North America, said Diffenbaugh, who has provided testimony and scientific expertise on climate change to the White House, the Governor of California and U.S. congressional offices. The scientific evidence is not strong enough for a definitive link between global warming and the kinds of severe thunderstorms that produce tornadoes. The fourth National Climate Assessment released in November found that as the planet warms because of a human-caused climate change, heavy downpours are increasing in the Midwest. From the early night, the report said the United States is seeing clear increases in historical terms of severe heat, heavy rainfall, storm surge, flooding. There are also many different individual extreme events for which we have robust evidence of an influence of historical global warming on the probability and/or severity of that particular event, said Diffenbaugh. Those events include the hot, dry summer over the central United States in 2012 that led to severe declines in crop yields, the recent California drought that lasted 7 years, the storm surge flooding during Superstorm Sandy in 2012 and the record rainfall delivered to Houston by Hurricane Harvey in 2017, said Diffenbaugh. In the Midwest, the characteristics of winters are changing, they're getting warmer and wetter, followed by large amounts of spring rain. That's a formula for flooding. You're about to see the heat-trapping carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases emitted into the atmosphere by burning coal, oil, and other fossil fuels are the cause of the higher temperatures. The extra carbon dioxide has caused temperatures to rise to levels that cannot be explained by natural factors, scientists report. And humans have the Earth's average temperature has already increased by 1.4 degrees since 1880, according to a slideshow by Photo Services. We are at the beginning of what's going to be a number of decades where the climate is going to be changing very fast. During that time, this comes as the White House plans to stop reporting on the effects of global warming past 2040 rather than through the end of the century as was previously the case, according to. Scientists say this is misleading because the climate models show the largest effects of global warming hitting after 2040 unless carbon emissions are decreased. They well know that if we fail to act to bring down our carbon emissions over the next decade, this will lock in disastrous melting of the ice sheets, sea level rise, and a rise in devastating weather extremes decades down the road, said Michael Mann, a professor of atmospheric science at Pennsylvania State University. The Environmental Protection Agency responded to the Times report by saying that the previous use of inaccurate modeling, focused on worst-case emission scenarios, didn't reflect real-world conditions and needed to be thoroughly re-examined and tested. In fact, Mann said, it's an effort to misrepresent and downplay the seriousness of the problem in service of the fossil fuel interests to which he and others believe the Trump administration is beholden. They don't want people to look down the road. They want to inflict. This article originally appeared on USA Today. Search for location/city.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park, pot.